There are many who wish, but few who work, many who dream, but few who endure. Consistency is not an easy garment to wear. It chafes against the flesh. It demands effort when the soul longs for rest. Yet it is this very force that turns the weak into the mighty, the scattered into the steadfast, and the wavering into the victorious. There is a peculiar fire that burns in the heart of one who sets forth on a new journey. The excitement of fresh beginnings stirs within, and the spirit is eager to press forward with enthusiasm. The mind races with grand visions of success, and the hands move swiftly to build what the heart has long imagined. In those early moments it feels as though nothing can stand in the way, as if the road ahead is already paved with certainty. But alas, passion is a fickle friend. It burns bright at dawn, only to flicker when the sun rises high in the sky. The test of a man's resolve is not in how he begins, but in whether he continues when the first fire fades. How many have set their hands to the plough with vigor, only to abandon the field at the first sign of difficulty? How many have sworn oaths of discipline and devotion, only to watch their own words crumble into dust? The energy of passion is fleeting, but consistency is the fire that refuses to go out, even when the winds of adversity blow hard against it. He who forces himself to keep moving, even when his soul protests, is the one who will stand victorious in the end. And consider the man who desires to grow strong. He does not lift weights once and expect his body to transform. No, he subjects himself daily to the discipline of effort, pushing through the soreness, the fatigue, and the days when results seem invisible. The student does not read one book and become wise overnight. He bends his back over his studies, absorbing knowledge piece by piece, until wisdom settles within him. So it is with all things of worth. Passion may spark the flame, but only steadfast commitment will sustain it. The world is filled with those who started well, but finished in defeat. Their downfall was not due to lack of ability, but lack of endurance. They leaped forward in excitement, but faltered when the path grew steep. They allowed their emotions to dictate their progress, walking only when they felt inspired, resting when they should have pressed on. But success does not belong to those who move according to feeling. It belongs to those who move according to purpose, whether or not they feel the fire of excitement burning within them. So force yourself to be consistent. When the passion wanes, let duty take its place. When the excitement fades, let discipline carry you forward. If you only move when the fire is bright, you will never reach the end of the race. But if you press on, even when your soul longs to stop, then you will know the true strength of a man, made steady by unwavering determination. There is no enemy more subtle, no adversary more persistent, than the weakness that dwells within a man's own heart. Many battles are fought against the world, against circumstances, against the temptations that lie in wait. But the greatest struggle is often waged within, the conflict between who a man longs to be and who he allows himself to remain. He makes promises to himself, grand declarations of change, oaths of discipline and devotion, yet how quickly those promises crumble when met with difficulty. How easily the lips say, "I will," but the hands fail to move when the moment of testing arrives. A man may stand before the dawn, his heart full of conviction, saying, "Today I will be different. Today I will commit to the work before me." But as the hours pass and the weight of effort bears down upon him, his resolve begins to shake. Distractions whisper to him, the comforts of ease lure him away from his duty. And soon that noble promise made in the light of determination is buried beneath excuses and delays. He tells himself he will begin again tomorrow, but when tomorrow comes he is no stronger than the day before. Consider how often men break their own word to themselves. They vow to rise early and seek wisdom, yet the bed calls them back to sleep. They promise to labor diligently, yet they pause at the first sign of weariness. They determine to forsake their vices, yet they yield at the first pang of desire. Would such a man trust another who treated him in the same way? Would he rely on a friend whose word was given in one moment and abandoned in the next? Yet he deceives himself daily, placing faith in his own intentions while his actions betray them. The man who cannot master himself will forever be at the mercy of his weakest impulses. He will live in the cycle of guilt and failure, always resolving to change, always returning to old habits. Such a life breeds frustration and sorrow, for deep within he knows that he was made for more. But knowing is not enough. One must act, and act with unwavering commitment. A man must force himself to honor his own word, to stand by his decisions, even when every comfort and distraction pleads for his surrender. True strength is not found in sudden bursts of effort, but in the quiet, steady resolve to do what must be done, no matter how the heart wavers. When a man learns to obey his own word, to be faithful to his own promises, he steps into the power of true self-mastery. He no longer waits for motivation, he moves with purpose. He no longer depends on fleeting inspiration, he acts out of unwavering duty. This is the path to greatness, the way of those who rise above their frailties and walk in the strength of discipline. So let a man no longer speak empty words to himself. Let him no longer build his house upon the sand of fleeting enthusiasm. If he declares, "I will," let him do so with the force of action behind it. Let his yes be yes, his no be no, and in doing so he will find that the battle against his wavering will is not won in a single moment of passion, but in the daily, disciplined act of keeping his word, first to himself and then to the world. There is within every man a longing for success, a desire to see the fruits of his labor. He envisions the reward, dreams of the harvest, and imagines himself standing in the abundance of his efforts. Yet, how many begin the work with great enthusiasm only to falter when they see no immediate return? They set their hands to the plow, but quickly glance back, growing weary when the ground does not yield its fruit overnight. Such impatience is the ruin of many, for they crave results, but lack the endurance to bring their work to completion. The farmer does not cast his seed into the soil and expect a harvest the next day. He knows that there is a season of waiting, a time of watering and tending before he may gather the fruit of his labor. He does not rush the process, nor does he abandon the field when the seed remains unseen beneath the earth. He trusts the unseen work of time, believing that what is sown in diligence will in due time bring forth a plentiful yield. But the man who desires results without endurance is like one who sows his seed and then walks away in frustration, returning only to find that nothing has grown. Many are those who start a new pursuit with passion, but when progress is slow they despair. They begin learning a new skill, but when mastery does not come swiftly, they cast it aside. They set goals for their health, their mind, or their soul, but when the first effort does not yield immediate transformation, they lose heart. They long for excellence, but shrink back from the slow, painful process required to attain it. They wish to reap the rewards of wisdom, discipline, and strength, but they are unwilling to endure the toil that brings forth such treasures. Consider the runner who desires to win the race but despises the training. He dreams of the victor's crown but scorns the long hours of practice. He wishes to be swift but refuses to push through the pain of endurance. Can such a man hope to stand triumphant? Can he expect to claim the prize when he has not first endured the hardship? No, it is the one who embraces the difficulty of the journey who will stand in victory at the end. Likewise, in all things, the reward is reserved for those who press on, even when results seem distant. The path to greatness is paved with patience and persistence. There will be seasons of struggle, moments when progress is invisible, days when the work seems in vain. But the wise man does not measure success by immediate results. He measures it by faithfulness to the task. He labors even when there is no visible reward, knowing that perseverance is the bridge between effort and fulfillment. He does not allow discouragement to steal his diligence, for he understands that no great work is accomplished in haste. Impatience is the thief of achievement. It convinces a man to abandon his calling before the appointed time. It whispers that if the reward does not come swiftly, then the effort is worthless. But patience, the steady hand of endurance, tells a different story. It reminds a man that growth is often unseen before it is revealed, that strength is built through persistent toil, and that the harvest belongs not to those who wish for it, but to those who labor for it without ceasing. So, let a man resist the urge to surrender when results do not come quickly. Let him press on when his strength wavers, when his mind grows weary, when the promise of reward seems distant. For it is not the one who starts with enthusiasm that finds success, but the one who endures with unwavering resolve. Let him be as the farmer who trusts the seasons, as the runner who does not quit before the finish line, as the builder who continues his work brick by brick, until the house is complete. In the end, the prize will belong to those who did not give up. The path to greatness is not a road paved with ease and indulgence, but with steadfast discipline. Yet, how many stumble upon this journey, lured away by the fleeting pleasures of the world. They begin with noble intentions, setting their sights on lofty goals. Yet at every turn, distractions call to them like sirens upon the sea. A moment of pleasure, a brief indulgence, a small detour, they seem harmless at first, but soon the traveler finds himself far from the course he first set. The ambition that burned bright in his soul is now dimmed by the countless diversions that have stolen his focus. It is the nature of the world to offer easy pleasures in place of lasting rewards. But the mind that once longed for wisdom is soon drawn away by idle entertainment. The hands that were meant for diligent labor now reach for idle amusements. The heart that once yearned for excellence now finds comfort in mediocrity. At first these distractions appear insignificant, small indulgences, harmless entertainments, momentary departures from the path, but slowly they weave themselves into habit, and what was once a minor detour becomes a road of its own, leading the soul far from its divine calling. A man cannot hold on to discipline while embracing distraction. He cannot chase after greatness while constantly turning aside for lesser things. No builder erects a mighty house if he lays a stone and then abandons his work for every passing amusement. No scholar gains wisdom if he studies one moment and entertains himself the next. No warrior triumphs if he trains one day and grows complacent the next. The world is filled with those who have talent, potential, and great dreams, but only a few rise above the rest. Those who discipline themselves to ignore the distractions and press forward with unwavering focus. Temporary pleasures deceive the heart, for they promise fulfillment but leave the soul empty. They promise rest, but steal time, offer joy, but bring regret. A man who yields to distractions may find temporary relief from his struggles, but in the end he is left with nothing but wasted hours and unfulfilled purpose. He will look back upon his days and wonder where the time has gone, lamenting that he traded his calling for momentary satisfaction. And yet, the time that is lost cannot be regained, for the past does not return to be rewritten. The wise man sees distractions for what they truly are, thieves of time and enemies of progress. He does not despise pleasure, for there is a time for rest and rejoicing, but he discerns when it is appropriate and when it is a hindrance. He does not allow the passing delights of the world to pull him away from his greater calling. While others lose themselves in temporary indulgence, he presses on toward the goal. Undeterred by the amusements that claim so many souls, he understands that pleasure is meant to refresh, not to replace purpose. Greatness belongs to the man who can master himself, who denies the distractions that seek to sway him. The runner who fixes his eyes on the finish line does not pause for every attraction along the road. The musician who desires mastery does not set aside his instrument for idle entertainment. The craftsman who wishes to complete his work does not abandon it for trivial pursuits. Those who accomplish much are not always the most gifted, but they are always the most disciplined. They are those who refuse to trade their future for fleeting pleasure. How many great works have been left unfinished because of a distracted heart? How many brilliant ideas have faded because their Creator lacked the discipline to see them through? How many men have stood at the edge of success only to turn aside for a moment's pleasure and never return? The world is full of unfinished dreams, abandoned pursuits, and forsaken callings, not because the task was too hard, but because distractions made it easy to quit. Those who yield to every temptation of comfort and entertainment will never know the fullness of what they could have achieved. So the battle against distraction is not fought once and won forever. It is a daily struggle, a constant war against the impulses of the flesh. Every day the world will offer new temptations, new excuses, new reasons to stray from the path. But the man who longs for greatness must strengthen himself in discipline. He must set his eyes on the goal and refuse to look away. He must remind himself that the pleasure of achievement is far greater than the fleeting satisfaction of distraction. He must guard his time, his mind, and his heart, lest he be led astray by the very things that promise him comfort. So let a man examine his ways and ask himself, is he truly committed to his purpose, or has he given himself over to distractions? Does he labor with diligence, or does he allow passing pleasures to steal his time? Let him remember that every moment wasted is a step away from his destiny. But let him also take heart, for the path of discipline is always open to those who choose to walk it. If he would be great, let him fix his eyes upon his calling and refuse to be moved. The world may call to him, but he must not listen. The prize belongs to those who persevere. It is a strange thing to admire the steadfastness of others, yet refuse to walk in their footsteps. Many look upon the disciplined with awe, speaking highly of their diligence, their unwavering devotion, their persistence in the face of hardship. They watch the runner who rises before dawn to train his body, the scholar who labors over his books while others slumber, the craftsman who hones his skill through endless repetition. They marvel at the fruit of such labor, the success, the strength, the mastery, but they fail to realize that such excellence is not granted in a moment, but built through years of toil. The world is full of admirers. It is easy to applaud the disciplined from afar, to listen to their words and nod in agreement, to be inspired by their journey. Yet admiration alone does not transform a man. Many praise the diligent, but remain idle themselves. They speak of greatness, they desire achievement, yet they shrink from the demands of discipline. They long for the results, but reject the process. And so they remain in the same place, year after year, wondering why their lives bear no fruit. To admire the discipline and not imitate them is to be like a man who stands before a great feast, praising the bounty before him, yet refusing to eat. He marvels at the abundance, but does not partake, and so he remains hungry while others are nourished. So it is with those who love to hear of discipline, but do not practice it. They gather knowledge, they seek wisdom, they watch others succeed, yet they themselves make no progress because they do not apply what they have learned. Why is it that so many admire, but so few imitate? Because the way of consistency is a path of sacrifice. It demands the surrender of ease and comfort. It requires a man to deny himself fleeting pleasures, to master his impulses, to do the hard thing even when he does not feel like it. Many love the idea of discipline, but when faced with the daily toil it requires, they turn away. They wish for greatness without the struggle, achievement without the effort, reward without the labor, but such things do not exist. Look at the life of the disciplined. They do not live by feelings, but by principle. They do not wait for motivation. They move forward regardless of how they feel. When weariness calls them to rest before their work is done, they press on. When distractions lure them away, they guard their focus. When progress is slow, they do not despair, but trust in the power of consistency. The road they walk is not easy, yet they persist. For they know that true success is not given, it is earned through unwavering commitment. But the admirer? He loves the idea of discipline, but not its demands. He speaks of change, but remains unchanged. He is stirred by stories of resilience, but does not endure hardship himself. He begins many things, but completes few. He makes resolutions with great excitement, yet when the fire of emotion fades, so does his effort. He expects results quickly and gives up when they do not come. He watches others build, yet his own hands remain idle. The difference between the disciplined and the admirer is not in knowledge but in action. The admirer knows what must be done. He has read the books, heard the wisdom, seen the examples, but he does not take the next step. He waits for the perfect time, the perfect feeling, the perfect circumstance, but these never come. The disciplined, however, act despite imperfection. They do not wait for a better mood or an easier path. They work with what they have, where they are, knowing that every step forward, no matter how small, leads to transformation. How many have wasted years in admiration without action? How many have filled their minds with wisdom, yet changed nothing in their lives? Knowledge alone does not create success. Motivation alone does not build discipline. Inspiration alone does not produce results. It is the application of these things, the daily practice, the repeated effort, the refusal to quit, that sets the disciplined apart from the rest. The admirer dreams of what he could become. The disciplined man becomes it. A man must ask himself, does he only admire discipline, or does he practice it? Does he merely watch others succeed, or does he walk the same path of perseverance? Does he desire change, or does he work for it? If he is willing to put admiration into action, to turn knowledge into effort, he will find that the path of discipline is not reserved for the select few. It is open to all who are willing to pay its price. Excuses will always be present, but so will the opportunity to begin. The admirer says, "I will start when the time is right," but the disciplined man starts now. The admirer says, "I do not feel motivated," but the disciplined man acts despite his emotions. The admirer waits for the path to become easier. The disciplined man walks it regardless. And as time passes, the admirer remains where he began, while the disciplined has moved forward, step by step, toward his purpose. No one is born disciplined. It is forged through daily choices. Each day presents a man with the same decision. Will he act, or will he only admire? Will he commit, or will he only wish? The difference between mediocrity and mastery is found in the answer to this question. Many are called to greatness, but only those who embrace the way of consistency will attain it. So let the man who desires to rise above the common crowd cease from mere admiration and begin the work of discipline. Let him rise early to labor. Let him deny himself distractions. Let him press forward when others grow weary. Let him build habits of excellence, small though they may seem, for consistency is the foundation of all success. Let him remember that every great man he admires was once an ordinary man who chose to persist when others did not. Let him not be content to watch others succeed while he remains unchanged. Let him not merely marvel at the fruit of discipline, but labor to bear his own. Let him no longer dream of what he could become, but take hold of it with both hands. The path is open. The choice is his. Will he walk it? The greatest mistake of many is believing that progress must be swift, that success must come in great leaps, and that the journey must be smooth and effortless. But those who are truly wise understand that mountains are not conquered in a single bound, nor is greatness attained overnight. The path of transformation is slow and steady, built upon countless unseen steps, each one necessary, each one bringing a man closer to his goal. Yet so many give up when the results do not come quickly, when the fruit of their labor is not immediately visible. The impatient man begins with great enthusiasm, throwing himself into his work with fire and zeal. He sets his eyes upon the heights, imagining the glory that awaits him at the summit. But as the days pass and progress seems small, his heart begins to waver. He expected rapid change, instant rewards, visible signs of success. Yet instead he finds himself still at the base of the mountain, his efforts seeming insignificant, his steps feeling slow. Doubt creeps in, whispering, "Is this worth it? Should I even continue?" Many have abandoned their calling, not because they were incapable, but because they were impatient. They mistook slow progress for failure. They did not see that each small step was bringing them closer, that each day of effort was strengthening them for the journey ahead. And so they turned back, convinced that they were making no difference, when in truth they were on the very brink of a breakthrough. If only they had continued a little longer, pressed on with a little more endurance, they would have seen what their perseverance could accomplish. The greatest victories are often hidden behind long seasons of toil. The seed planted in the soil does not sprout overnight. The tree does not bear fruit in a day. The builder does not raise a house in an instant. Yet in the hidden places where no eye sees, growth is happening. The roots are deepening, the foundation is being laid, and the harvest is being prepared. But the man who grows weary too soon will walk away before he ever reaps the reward. Why do men despise slow progress? Because the world has conditioned them to expect immediacy. They have been trained to seek instant gratification, to demand quick results, to abandon anything that does not yield immediate success. They want shortcuts to greatness, fast paths to mastery, and easy roads to victory. But such things do not exist. Every true accomplishment requires time. Every lasting success demands endurance. The man who is unwilling to wait, who refuses to persevere, will never taste the sweetness of achievement. The disciplined understand what the impatient do not. Every step forward matters. Though the progress seems small, though the results seem distant, every moment of effort is building something greater than the eye can see. The mountain is not conquered in a single stride, but through thousands of small, faithful steps. The runner does not finish the race in an instant, but through each painful stride, each disciplined breath, each moment of endurance. And so it is with all who seek to accomplish something great. Do not despise the days of slow progress. Do not grow weary when the results seem delayed. Every moment of effort, no matter how insignificant it feels, is shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you for what lies ahead. Many have quit just before their breakthrough, not realizing that they were closer than they imagined. The finish line was just beyond the horizon. The answer was on the other side of one more step. Yet they turned back because they could not yet see it. If the mountain seems impossible to climb, it is only because you are looking at its peak instead of focusing on the next step. The journey is overwhelming when viewed as a whole, but when taken one step at a time, it becomes possible. The man who endures is the man who does not dwell on how far he has to go, but instead fixes his eyes on the next task before him, pressing on with unwavering determination. The enemy of progress is discouragement. He whispers, "It is too hard, too slow, too difficult," hoping that you will surrender before your work is complete. But the wise know that even the smallest efforts add up over time. The man who lays a single brick each day may not see much change at first, but after weeks, months, and years, he will look up to see that he has built a fortress. The question is not whether you will succeed, but whether you will endure. The road may be long, the progress may be slow, but those who refuse to quit will one day stand upon the heights and see what their perseverance has accomplished. They will look back at every moment they wanted to give up and realize that those were the moments that made them strong, that prepared them for the victory ahead. So, press on. Do not judge your progress by what you can see today. Do not measure success by speed, but by consistency. Stay the course, take the next step, and refuse to quit. The mountain is not unconquerable. It simply requires steady, determined steps. Those who endure to the end will find that every small effort was worth it, every slow step was necessary, and every moment of perseverance led them exactly where they were meant to be.